Hello and welcome. This is Alchemistexe, and today we're going to be taking a look at Lotiyah and her job plus. She is a Thunder physical unit who got her job plus on Wild Beast Tamer, I think it's a pretty good change. It's a little different than some of the other job pluses we've gotten because it focuses more on transforming her moves and powering them up, which because the power up move can only be used once, you kind of have to be careful with how you utilize it, but if you utilize it well, she can do a lot of damage. And then also just provides a lot of utility because Wild Beast Tamers can throw and they can knock enemies around. I've found them to be quite useful in the past. So this entire party, the entire purpose of it is just to get Lotiyah set up so she can do her moves. Dry to take out the physical dragon before he gets the shield off, and then Hisham to supply jewels and Nyx to provide a quicken and overclock. So it's not really made for efficiency. It's just like, how can I get her as much jewels as possible and to showcase a bunch of her moves? Because the main big thing that she gets in her job plus is this ability to power up 3 of her moves. The first one is her throw, so just improved range on that, which can be handy in gimmicky levels such as this one. The second is the Lion Strike move, the one that ignores defense. She gets an AoE on that and gets to be Thunder. And then the Colossal Rage / Bestial Rage, that move gets also Thunder Elemented and then a pretty noticeably big AoE that does not hit allies. So that is a big plus, to be sure. So I'm not gonna show the whole battle because in totality it was about almost 8 minutes long. But I want to get to the point where I showcase the total amount of damage she can do, because I'll showcase all of the other moves on the way. Like, that is the one that powers up the 3 moves, and you can only use it once. So that's why I went to the trouble of getting her MP as high as I could get it, so that way I could just spam out moves constantly, because once that 5-turn duration is gone, you don't get access to it anymore. So you're functionally getting kind of locked out of a lot of the job plus content in that case, which I think that kind of sucks. But on the other hand, the moves get powered up enough that I think it's a worthy trade-off. Because she can hit some pretty high numbers, especially if you factor in the Shura charge up, and her scaling doesn't even optimize the Shura charge up, so it's a pretty good setup altogether. Like, that is a big difference, and especially if you're running her more for utility than for damage, but she can definitely do both. Although I think more than the damage itself, it should be noted that the damage being untyped is the big thing. Much like Gerald, she kind of was. She did the Gerald thing back in the days before Gerald got his job plus, where you could do like a Shura charge up and do one of her Beast Tamer moves, and it wouldn't do a crazy amount of damage. Like, there's a lot of other units to be laughing at that damage, but if it was a gimmicky level where damage types mattered, then she'd just bypass it. So she can still do that and better, but then she can also just bring good damage to the table, especially against water units. And she's got good AoEs that you don't have to worry about hitting allies, which is always nice. And then if you wanted to get rid of the Shura charge up, you can get more utility out of her. So I all in all think that it is definitely a good improvement. Usually it's hard to go wrong with a job plus. Like, the worst case scenario is you get something like Deneb where it barely added anything, but it still wasn't a net negative. Okay, so where are we? We got the charge up, or the upgrade for her moves, and then we got the throw, and then we got I don't remember if we used the Thunder AoE for ignoring defense yet. I know I used the big AoE already, and then what I'm going to do is on the second to last turn of the duration, use the Shura charge up, and then on the final, see how big the damage could be. And that will be the end of this mini showcase. And then after that, we'll go into 1, how you get Lotiyah, because that's unique, and then 2, the details of, kind of the normal review for a unit, like kind of her stats, gears, mementos, that kind of thing. Oh, there's the defense ignoring one. Yeah, it's nice to have that be an AoE. And then the final thing that this video is going to have is going to be an overview of the mechanics of these levels. Like, you're kind of seeing some of them, like throwing the snowman on the panels. It's like, that's the main bullet point of these levels, is throw the snowman on the panels. But I'm gonna kind of deconstruct the hell level a little bit and showcase how some of that works. I'm not gonna do the whole thing because like my clear of it ended up being like 16 minutes long or so. I just want to highlight a couple of key points and a couple of good units that can be used for it. But yeah, we are, I think, just about there. Eventually the rest of the units kind of ran out of stuff to do because I didn't time out perfectly. But you know what, that's okay. It's hard to get like a perfect sequence, especially because I pre-record these because it's a nightmare to try and play the game and record at the same time. Like something is gonna get bad. Like the recording is gonna get bad, or the gameplay is gonna get bad, and I would rather not have that. But as we're about to see, the damage that she can do, especially to water units, is pretty good. So we're looking at 41 for that guy, and then 47 for that guy. So yeah, all in all, for a big fat AoE that doesn't hurt allies, I say bravo, Lotiyah. Alright, so we're going to end the showcase here, and then we will take a look at how you acquire her. So, if you don't have Lotiyah and you're wondering, hey, how come I've never summoned her before? Well, that is because you can't summon her. She is in a very, very small group of units that can only be obtained via transmuting. So if we were to go into the shop and then pay a visit to the coin shop and find the arena section, there's a lot of coin shops. Where? There we go. I mean, her picture is on the thing, so, you know, spoilers. So yeah, so you have to buy her shards just like this, and transmute her, then max limit break her, and then enlighten her. So if you haven't done that yet, I would start now, because it'll take a while to get her fully built up. But I can assure you it is definitely worth the time that it takes. If you do all of your arena fights every day, then the amount of time that it takes you is only a little bit slower than doing a 3 times a day farmable character that you don't have. Otherwise, it's pretty similar. I wouldn't recommend using Thunder Shards or anything. She's good, but she's not that good. But yeah, that's it. Just get as many arena coins as you can, and then just keep buying those shards every day. Or I guess it'd be every 2 days, most likely, barring any double coin events. But yeah, otherwise, that's how you get her. It's transmute. It's like her and Yuan for arena coins, and then if you're both a whale and crazy, you could get Blitz with summon coins. But otherwise, yeah, that's it. So yeah, let's move on to the unit screen and see what she can do. Alright, here we are at the unit screen. So these are what Lotiyah's stats looks like. I have her pretty much maxed out. The only thing I don't have on her are runes. If you're going to put runes on her, I'd say P attack or HP. And maybe try to get some agility in there too. Not too complicated. As far as gears go, I think by far, as far as a weapon goes, that if you're lucky enough to have the Beast Lord talons, that's pretty simple and straightforward. The best, you get 15 agility. Anything that gives you that much agility is great to have. And then other stats that she wants. You get a VCR for free from her free Memento. And that is nice because it gets a flat boost to damage in general. Also, totally forgot to equip it when I was doing that showcase. And so her damage would have been a bit higher had I done that. The only thing she had equipped in that battle that I showed was the Beast Lord talons, so whoops. And then finally, I like the Tamamo coat because jewels obtained is very good for her because she wants a lot, especially at first. And then while you're gathering jewels, you can use the the passive effect of the VCR in lowering the jewel cost of her moves with every attack. So that kind of gives you an advantage for saving her big, powerful moves for later on in the fight after you've built that up a little bit. So like it's like her jewel economy will progressively get better as the battle goes on with that setup. And then as an added bonus, the Tamamo coat also increases the jewel gain. Yeah, her Memento, that's another straightforward one. She doesn't have Gate 6 yet, so you can only have one Memento. And it's 100% free if you do all of the milestones for the regular levels, the EX, EX Plus, and Hell. That'll give you one full set to max limit break. If you really, really want to, you can also buy more with the Wreath coins. I don't really see a reason to do that, though, because Lotiyah is really the only person who's going to benefit from this. So, yeah. But it itself, for her, is great. Getting, like, she becomes an anti-monster specialist, even more than a Beast Tamer already would have been. Just getting a bonus modifier towards monsters in general. She gets P-Attack, Agility. A lot of her, I don't know if all of her moves do, but definitely some of them scale off of both P-Attack and Agility, so having more of that is good. And then a non-type bonus is really good. It helps her do what she wants to do and better. Oh, I never used the move that they give you from the Vision ability too. But another Thunder non-type attack, so she knows what she specializes in. Alright, now let's take a look at her gates. Okay, so as you can see, I have maxed all 5 of her gates, and I definitely recommend doing that because she's a free unit, so why not? Especially because a lot of those resources, especially like the Retributions, are less rare now. When her Gate 6 does come out, I probably recommend just 4 out of 5 for that one, because there isn't really another Memento she'd be able to take advantage of, and the HP bonus would probably be good enough that way. But yeah, so 1 is stats, good times. 2 adds P-Attack onto Ferocious Evolution, and I already think that's a really good skill to have by itself, so it makes it better. So I definitely, if you're still building her up, I would try to get that one first. 3, the leader skill is pretty good. I wouldn't prioritize this one over, say, 2 or 5, but for physical Thunder units, it's a pretty good just all around. 4 is another one. Wouldn't prioritize it as much, but more stats are always good. And then what 5 will do is it'll improve the Colossal Rage, and it will add HP scaling on it, so the lower her health gets, the more damage it does. It also just will do more damage in general. The scaling got a lot better for that. I'm not sure exactly how her Job Plus factors into that equation, whether it improves the improved version of it by a similar amount. If anybody knows, I would appreciate to know the details on that. But overall, it's the hardest part about her is the time gating. Other than that, easy unit to raise and pretty easy unit to use. So definitely recommend building her up because she is very fun. So now we're going to take a look at the Hell level in particular. Okay, real quick, I forgot to go over the skills. So this is the way I typically run her. But there's definitely good options. Like if you need more utility, swap that out for beast taming. Typically I found the evasion to be more useful, but every once in a while there might be a level where enemies are attacking a lot at close range, that kind of thing. So you could use tail swing. Don't recommend cross counter because it's the wrong damage type. And then typically I run Gate 2 and Feint just for even more evasion. Typically she doesn't really have a good other one offensively. I don't find the guts to be useful as much, so I just go for Gate 2 and evasion. But yeah, okay, so now let's take a look at the Hell level. Okay, so this level was definitely designed with Lotiyah in mind, but it's by no means necessary to have her. There are a lot of ways that you can beat this level. You just need a few very specific tasks to be done in order to do it. So you need to either kill, like I'm about to do to that dragon, you need to kill the shielders before they pop their shields, or you can do what I'm going to do with Albea and interrupt their skill cast. And if you want to just stick to one damage type, you only have to worry about one of the dragons. I went for both just so I could showcase both options out at the same time, but I would definitely recommend sticking to one damage type if you can't just outscale the level, that kind of thing. And then you need somebody that can manipulate movement, whether that's a Lotiyah throwing, or my Berta is using her cannon to move them around. I chose an unnecessarily complex method of doing it, mostly just because I have way too many Berta shards, and so I have her all built up. I just don't get that many chances to use her. Like, the game just kind of pushed her on me, and so this is one of those cases where I can actually take advantage of it. But yeah, you can switch around with Chronomancers. If you don't have Lotiyah, you could use a different Wild Beast Tamer. That portion of the map, survivability is less of an issue. It's the other corner where like the dragons and eventually where the bugs spawn that you need to be. But yeah, if you can break the spell casting, then Albea is really good because you can do it from far away. I did it with Kevin on one of my runs just because I was able to get him close enough to use Blaze of Kinesis. There's a lot of ways you can do it. And then I'm using Nyx, but I'm really just using him mostly for quickening and overclocking. So it could just be any old Chronomancer. And then as always, just showing that Soul just rocks in all and every content. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So the things that you want to be weary of in this level are the placements of your units when the bugs spawn, because they are going to do their best to knock you onto the panels, and those panels will do 6,000 damage each. So if you can, getting the enemies onto them via throwing or pushing, that's good. But you definitely don't want to be on the outer edge where a bug can come in and then push you onto the panels. And then other than that, that's pretty much the level. You just need units strong enough to not die. They need to be able to eat, maybe 4k damage pretty casually. Then you need to be able to move, and then you need to either be able to kill or cancel the spell casting of at least one of the dragons. The magic dragon is a little easier to reach, so there's other ways you could do it. Like you could do an overclock cast with a Lotiyah buff, something like that. I've seen somebody do that. So magic is definitely going to be a little bit easier, but if you want to do physical, then Albea or Kevin are good ways to enable that, just because the guy is so far away. So it's either once you've killed enough dudes or enough turns passed, but then the bugs will spawn. And you need to be wary of them just because of their pushing. And they do alright damage, but it's nothing too crazy. But other than that, that is pretty much it for the level. It is, as far as I can tell, it is impossible to auto this level, just because it's too demanding as far as like the turn counts go and unit placements. I don't imagine the AI could handle this, even if you did have like a full whale team. So understanding the mechanics are pretty important in that regard. But yeah, that is pretty much it though. Definitely, if anybody has questions in the comments, I'll do my best to answer them. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this week in terms of content, and I haven't even touched the Magna Historia stuff yet, so I've been so focused on this stuff. Next up, I'm going to do a review for Ravenna, and that's going to be a lot shorter because, one, I don't have her limited Memento, at least not yet. I might pull on that depending on what's been announced. I know there's a collab coming for Shield Hero, so I'm still figuring out exactly what I want to do with my gems. But, there'll be no reason to go over this level again, and her kit's a lot simpler, so that'll be a much easier video to make. I tackled the hard one first. But yeah, the long and the short of it is that I already love Lotiyah as a unit, and now I love her even more. And this level is crazy, but not as scary as it might seem on first glance. So yeah, I will see you guys next time.